Hey guys, welcome to this property that I call the Hillside Strip. This is a 10-acre total property. Out here in front of us there's about 6 acres of hunting and habitat. Well, let's go take a look at it. We're going to drop in here next to this old gravel pit. This property is about 100 yards wide and a half a mile long. Just over 10 acres. Give you guys a look at the gravel pit here. This is a pretty good sized hill. Well, you guys can see the top of the truck right up there. And come right in over the top here and kind of post up with a gun, no problem, up on this hill, and then overlooking this stuff down here. It makes for a really nice gun setup, sitting up on top of that hill. Let's go ahead and walk on the high side of the property on the way through. So, over here. Down here on the property line, I'm trying to take the trees and just hinge them over. You see all the top growth, or growth in the tops there. But this is just to help do a little screening. Same thing up here. Do a little screening from the neighbors. As you can see over there, this is the property line right here. As you can see over on the neighbors, it's just wide open hayfield, and they don't have a whole lot to go on. This is about all they got right here. Is this little swamp, and you might be able to see it right up there as they're blind, sitting up on the top of their hill, and just overlooking any deer that are coming up and out of my swamp here. So let's continue on down the property line. There's a lot of work to do over here on this property. We have barely started. So we have a really nice trail going right down the edge of the property that was already kind of existing here. The deer are also using it, but we came in and we hinged, or excuse me, we fell. No hinging has been done yet. We felled some. Well, I guess there has been a small bit of hinging done. So, but anyways, we felled these large cottonwoods here. And you can see they're starting to make a mess. There's already a lot of briars and brambles and rose bushes and stuff like that kind of all through this area. But anyways, the idea here is just to keep stacking trees and tops along this edge here, and we're not trying to make a permanent barrier. As you can see, I already got autumn olive growing here like crazy. This is all over the property, but it's helping to create a nice little barrier here along this edge. This trail here, we're going to try and do everything we can to thicken this edge up. So like right here, it's not too bad with this autumn olive, but what I'm thinking is coming in and putting a line of miscanthus right here just on this edge, on the inside edge, just kind of following along up there and just kind of running it down there, and then I can come in here and sneak down this on the back side, and I think I can get all the way back to the back of the property as long as the wind is right. I don't see any problem with getting all the way back here to the back side of the property As long as I take my time and I'm quiet, right time of year, I think I can make it happen. So we got this little opening right here that we came into, and I'll show you something real quick. So the idea here is to get a few more of these trees down. If you can see the pickup sitting up there, you get a few more of these trees in here cut down, and get a shooting lane from the top of that hill up there, maybe not exactly where the pickup is, but somewhere up on top of that hill, and be able to get a blind set up in there and be able to shoot down into this opening right here, kind of up on top of this hill. And what I would do is just put a little bit of clover in here, and I have these tops right here that I've hinge cut over and started to barricade my line with them. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here with my mini excavator and grab these tops right here, and I'm going to bring them over and set them right in here. There's kind of a ridge right through here, and that'll give me a 2-track trail on that side of the tops, and I set them here. And then on this side of the tops is going to be a little bit of a clover food plot up on top of this hill here. And my thought is, if I can get any deer to come out in here that are going to cross into the neighbors anyway, if I'm up here in a blind, I'll be able to catch them before the neighbor does. And if they you know, if they're going to go out on the neighbors, I really can't stop them. It's what they're going to do. But generally, they're going to do that back there. They're going to come either right up across the top of this hillside, almost right into the door of their blind, or they're going to come out, and we'll show you right back in the back corner. Let's keep moving here along the property edge. You can kind of see it's pretty thick in here, but we still have some more trees to cut. A lot of autumn olive growing up all over. The nice thing is I do have a lot of little trees that I can cut. Just stuff like this. Same thing here with this guy. And go ahead and he doesn't seem to be surviving the hinge, so go ahead and rip him off there, and then take this whole thing and set him right up in there, kind of going this way. So I have a 2-track now on this side of it, no problem. 2-track would go right down here, and on all of this stuff gets bumped over and laid right along the edge, basically right in line with that little cherry that's standing out there already. And that's gonna give a nice barricade or a nice wall to cover, and then I'll have that little flat top there that potentially, with a blind way up on that hill up there, yeah, it's maybe 150 yards, not really that far, but I can sneak in, you know, I can sneak in there. I don't have to drive the pickup truck all the way to where it's parked now. It's parked there today out of convenience, but yeah, I think that'll make for a really nice setup on this small property. Only going to get hunted a couple times a year, maybe once or twice in bow season, and maybe once or twice in vent season. So we're really going to bank on having a lot of cover down here. As you can see, I got a lot of little red oak there, little cherry there, little red oak there, and then you got all this autumn olive growing up underneath. Good sized cherry right there. But all of that stuff, I don't mind cutting it and using it as screening up here for my 2-track, my way in, or just cutting it and folding it down the hill and leaving it for bedding and browse on the side of the hill. So there's a little bit of stuff like right here. I might want to come up here. There's this next opening. I think you'll be able to see these openings in the aerial footage much better, but a little bit of this stuff here right in front of me. I might peel a couple of these autumn olives out, but I'll leave the ones right here on the edge just as cover. And then I thought same thing right here between this cedar, and run it here up into this tangle, which I think that's autumn olive as well. I'm not sure. That's That's a big old bush, whatever it is there. But anyways, yeah, some of these tops, taking some of these tops that are all bushed out, and these ones right here, knocking those trees down and then laying them right in here between the cedar and the edge of this bush right here. And that's just going to help this opening. We'll walk down there real quick. As you can see, the swamp right here, there's not even maybe 50 yards of high ground, and it's hill, and it does flatten out right down by the swamp. But for the most part, I got about a 50-yard wide strip here down this hill, and then down right to where it hits the swamp. It flattens out just a little bit and then kind of drops into the swamp. So a lot of bedding happening all along this swamp edge. But back to this opening, you can see this opening here is maybe like 40 yards, not quite 50 yards long here, maybe 10 yards wide, but it's down the hill. And go back up the hill a little bit, so you can probably see my neighbor's blind kind of looking almost directly into where we're at right now, almost straight across from them. If we went up here on the other side of the cedar, which we can do, you're gonna see we're basically gonna be right straight across from my neighbor's blind. And you can even see the deer trails coming out right up there. So I don't mind these autumn olives growing up in right here, because this is my neighbor's blind, and they're gonna hunt the crap out of this blind right here. Way more than they should, but see, they don't own the woods behind it. They just own the hayfield in between the blind and here. And a lot of the deer are coming out either right now, they're coming out and crossing right here and going up over the hill, or way down there. I say way down there, another 100 yards down there, they're coming right out in the corner, and that's the main spot really where they're coming out. So back to this open little strip down here, I was thinking about getting some clover going here, and now the deer would be traveling this way, and not hopefully so much coming this way across. Or at least it would keep them over here maybe a little longer, hopefully till after dark. So yeah, these autumn olives that are growing up here, I don't mind these. I'm gonna keep letting these grow. And then this area that we're standing in right here, I want to get a 2-track going. So like this guy that I hinged right here, I might trim up a few limbs on the bottom of him, but for the most part, maybe I'll just bounce my 2-track around him. But this area on the other side of this cedar, just like we were talking on that side, a line or maybe a barricade of tops all the way down here. And so then we go down here, and once again we've done a little bit of cutting. You'll see some cutting that was done, but a lot of these little trees, all right, we haven't come back in and done any detail work. Might be able to see some of the stumps down there where we cut some larger, those look like cottonwoods to me. Yeah, 3 large cottonwoods that were right there that we cut down. It really opened up a lot of sunlight down there, of course. So behind me is actually south. So we didn't gain a whole lot of sun getting into anywhere other than the swamp out there, but we did gain a lot of side cover from those guys getting down, and I'm happy about that. So we keep moving, keep going right down this, working our way right down the property line right here. As you can see, a lot of little red oaks here. Old ladder stand that just hasn't been taken down. Surprising it hasn't fell down on its own. We do have a few walnuts. We're probably going to leave the walnuts, and pretty much everything else is going to be fair game. as far as cutting here. There's just a lot of little stuff, just a lot of little red oaks like this one right here, a lot of little cherries like that one there. That one there is a decent sized cherry, but it's still, there's nothing that's gonna make timber on this property at the moment. And the walnuts, it's gonna take them many years to make timber. So the thought is here, just let the walnuts go, and take care of, mop up everything else that we want to, and just create as much cover as possible down here. So you can see we still have a nice gap where the previous landowner probably had a 2-track going at one time, or maybe, at one time there was definitely a road or a 2-track going down the edge of this property, and it's really the only place you can get one. So we're just going to enhance that. The deer probably will travel on it, and we can't stop that, but if I can really do a lot of cutting down here on this edge and lay everything here, what would be going parallel with this 2-track here, we can really thicken this edge up and help to screen it. Also, same thing along this whole edge on this what would be the north side here on this 2-track, laying in miscanthus plantings, every like 3 feet to start with. Just a single row every 3 feet. It'll be several hundred yards to accomplish that, but I think that'll help us, get a good start on things, along with getting a lot of this stuff on this edge just knocked down and laid down parallel to the track here. Because as you can see, in certain places there's not even 50 yards of high ground from this property line fence here out to the edge of the swamp. The swamp comes in quite a bit in a few spots, so we don't have a lot of high ground to work with, so we have to take advantage of what we got. My thought is getting this screened up enough that I can get back in here. Like I said, it's gonna be maybe once or twice in bow season, and maybe once or twice in gun season. And just depends on how it all breaks down. But this is, like I said, it's a 10-acre property total, and down here, what I'm calling hunting, property, hunting area, habitat area, we're looking at maybe 6 acres. So you kind of call it a micro property. So here is, we're coming up on it. This is where all the deer are coming out into the neighbors. Right here. Walk up here, and this is the inside corner, loaded with autumn olive all the way around it. This neighbor here only owns just a few yards of these autumn olives here, so they have virtually no cover. They don't own any of this stuff, so they're only setting up here on this wide open hayfield in anticipation of deer coming out of mine, so that they can shoot them. So you kind of on one hand, sometimes you hate to stick it to your neighbor like that, but I'm a hunter and I'm a habitat guy, so I'm gonna try to get these deer to stay on my property, until dark, and spend as much time on this property as I can. Let's hold them here. Let's hold them here and not let them get over there and get shot. So this is a pretty good view of the full length of the 2-track, as far as you can see on it. It's not very cleaned up, but my thought down in here is pick a tree down in here, and I haven't decided yet exactly which one it's going to be. It might be this red oak back here, but as you can see, this is kind of the main deer travel that's coming out of here, and we do have work to do. We cut a lot of trees. Let's go walk up in this area. We cut a lot of trees in this area ahead of us to thicken things up on this property. and also because it was the area where we had the most amount of trees. So as you can see, we've got trees crossed down here, and we have done no detail work. We need to come back in here and spend a day with some chainsaws and make a little bit of a change down here. We'll be able to move around and actually take a look at things a little better. So there's a little creek right here. There's actually a little bridge crossing right here, but we laid this tree right over the top of it, and this guy will probably end up getting cleaned up. We'll probably clean this out when we get back in here to do detail work, and that way the deer, and not just the deer but us, but the deer can travel that quite a bit freer. And also we can get some equipment back here to do some of the stuff we need to do. So let's try to get back here without breaking our neck. Hopefully this tree will hold. And so you can see, I guess while I'm up here, you can see we laid down quite a few trees. We tried to hinge what we could. Anything that wasn't really safe to hinge, we didn't try to mess with it. But you can see why we did it here. My neighbor's got a blind right there. In fact, we'll go over to the property line and we'll take a look at it and give you guys an idea what it looks like and where we came from down here. There's the bridge tree that we walked across. So let's see if we can't get down here halfway decent. Okay, so we really messed this area up. I mean, not messed it up, we made a mess in it, a good mess. And we're gonna come back in and go ahead and just open things up a little bit. But as you can see, I'm really happy with the amount of cover that we created down here. Now we need to go in and trim out some trails and make it just a little easier for things to move around. But we got a lot of sunlight to the ground back here that was never gonna be getting down to the fourth floor. So yeah, let's work our way right up under here. Okay. So we are coming up here. Somewhere right in here, just after these hinges. I think the fence is right there. I think I'm seeing fence. Pretty sure that's yep. Okay. There's the old fence. So the property line, I mean, it's right down in here. We stayed off the line. You can see we kind of hinged everything kind of right in here, staying just off the line, not very far. But yeah, and not very high valuable trees either. But anyways, let's get back to it. Let's walk the line here. The line's actually in there, but so you can see if this is the line here, which it's not, it's over here, but if this were the line, I've got a blind there, well, you can see it, a tree stand there, and a stand right there. Now for the neighbors to get there, unfortunately, unless they're gonna go for a swim across this swamp, you might be able to see the high ground over there, which is on them. So unless they're gonna go swimming across the swamp, which they don't, they come from over there, they go all the way around the swamp, all the way around it. This is a hillside back here, If they cross the top of the hillside, anything in the bottom can look up and see them. And if they cross by the bottom, anything in the bottom can definitely hear them or see them. And if they come around here and they come all the way around their property, all the way to the very back corner, to sit in a blind or a tree stand, right here in the back corner, to overlook my property, there is hardly any deer over on theirs. The neighbors, he's a really nice guy. I give him and his family permission to come over here and turkey hunt, and he gives me permission to go over there and do some shed hunting, so that works out really well. But that property over there is hunted by 3, maybe 4 guys. It's absolutely pounded. It is wide open, as you can see. If you take a look through it, it's totally wide open, and it gets worse on the other side of the swamp over there. It's totally wide open, mature, a lot of beech trees in there, but mature timber. The best of all of this whole area in this swamp down here is all just basically the edge. It's all the edge, the entire edge, including what we just walked to get back into this back part here where we're at now. So now I'm going in and I'm thickening this right up here. We're gonna come in and do a little bit of detail work so the deer can move through it. But for the most part, I'm really happy with the mess that we made down in there. Really happy. Needs to have a little cutting done down in here in the center of it, just so the deer can kind of pass through. But aside from that, I think it really turned out nice. Now, if the neighbors, once again, here we are on the property line, if the neighbors are going to charge all the way back here and make us sit back here on the property line, I can't stop them, and I'm I'm not going to complain or nothing like that, because as long as you're going to stay on your property and shoot deer on your property, I really don't care if you hunt the property line. In fact, I'm going to set up on the property line right over here on the opposite property line. I'm going to set a stand less than 10 yards from the property line, and here's kind of the way I look at it. If you're going to hunt the property line and you're going to shoot onto your own property, if you're going to hunt the property line and your stand is going to be set up facing your own property, no problem. No problems there whatsoever. If I pay the taxes on it and I want to set a stand in a tree right on the line, hey, that's just fine. And also to that point, like this property here, I've only got 6 acres back here of what I would call deer habitat. The rest of it is fallow field, and one day, yes, it might hold some deer, but it doesn't today. So I only have 6 acres back here, and if I come in, if you're going to tell me I can't sit within 25 yards of the property line, well, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to eliminate almost half of my acreage. This property here, in fact, is just under 100 yards wide. This is just under 100 yards wide. So, I mean, if you figured it at 100 yards wide and said, hey, it's unethical to sit within 25 yards of your property line, well, I've just lost half of my property. So, I have no problem with fence sitters as long as they're facing their own property, and as long as they're shooting on their own property. I have no problem with it, and I have no problem doing it. Right up here, the stand we talked about right there in the corner, yeah, it's maybe going to be 10 yards from the property line. Let's see. This little creek system comes out of the swamp down here. It is really kind of neat. Kind of breaks the property in two. Try travels through there, but yeah, in my line, you might not be able to see it. There's a blue barrel right over there, which is basically the property line. So let's see if we can get across this without getting too wet. Somebody's dug this out here at one time, right here. Not sure what that was all about, but maybe when they put the culvert in, they might have brought some good soil in or something. I'm not really sure what the idea there was. It's not really the best setup, but so yeah, either way, whether a deer wants to cross right there where we just did, or right over here going across that that culvert, they're gonna go right here this way. This is the lowest ground. They follow that low ground right here. This is where they're gonna kick out right into the corner. And then, like what I was talking about, that tree, there's this larger tree right here, that red oak that I was thinking about trying to slip a stand into. And we got several walnuts down here that are probably just gonna get left. Probably won't mess with them, but the other stuff is probably gonna get hinged. Create a little cover down here. So let's walk the bottom edge of the property on the way back up. Kind of give you guys an idea what that looks like. So we came down here and we did cut some trees. There wasn't a whole lot of big stuff, but we cut what we could down here. You see one right here down on this edge. And basically right here between where I'm at and down on the edge there, you see the main deer trail right here. That's where the bedding is. Now if we look into here, I got all these little cherries right here, all over in here. Same thing with these little, a couple cherries there, and then an oak right here. All gonna get hinged over or felled just to help thicken this up. I don't have, you know, like I said, there's 6 acres here, and several of it is swamp. I will show you there is some neat bedding out there in the swamp, so we'll definitely check that out. But as you can see, I mean, I've got some decent travel going on through here. Another nice walnut right here, and then this is the top of a cottonwood that we knocked down up here. Really did get a lot of sunlight coming in here, and I got autumn olive growing in here like crazy. But the deer seem to really be okay. See, get a good idea. Decent deer trail leading out into the swamp here. Actually, let's take this one. We'll go on this little detour real quick. So you'll be able to see this in the aerial footage much better. This is a little land bridge that get a lot of bedding happening on. You might be able to see a trail up in there and some rubs in there. This is a little bit of high ground that goes through the swamp, and you'll see how just a little bit of high ground out here going through the water creates this land bridge and bedding opportunities. I mean, look at this one. It's just surrounded here by just a perfect little middle of the cattails. You know, middle of the cattails on this land bridge. We'll keep going. There's little high spots out here in the cattails. are just prime stuff. Little one right here. Probably guys can't see it, but definitely up under here. Up under this lone oak out here. Start to come into some of the dogwood, and then back up just a little bit here. So the property line, let's see if we can find the post here. I want to be careful not to try to get over on my neighbors, although I can go shed hunt over there, so I guess he really don't care. The property line is somewhere right in here where I'm at. I don't think it's too much further, but if you'll notice this, and you'll see it on the drone video, this kind of is a corner right here in the swamp, and we're basically on the corner. So, and a lot of bedding happening right there. I've kicked a lot of deer out over there, seen a lot of deer bounce out of that corner right over there, as well as this land bridge right here that we're on. Everything right up in here under these trees. Out in these cattails, anywhere you find trees, prime time spot to check out. But this one here, it is bedding. But I feel like this, because this is like a land bridge going across here, it's travel. So I've seen deer bed on this, but I feel like because of the travel here, and it really looks like we're on the trail right now, I think there's less bedding here because of the travel. You know, it's a pretty good trail that runs right along this. So there is definitely bedding here, and I've definitely seen deer bed here. I just feel like it's because of the travel, I think there's less bedding than there would be. For example, if it wasn't a land bridge, you know, connecting out here on this side of the swamp to over there on my neighbor's side of the swamp, or the swamp out here in between here. If it was just out in the middle like maybe some of these dogwood bushes, or even maybe a couple of those willows. That willow's a good example. I mean, there's nothing under that one, but those are good examples of stuff that's out in the middle of the cattails by themselves, just kind of lone little islands or mounds. Those are the places you really got to look for that they have the sweet bedding. So lone isolated spots, but I get a lot of bedding just on this edge here. I mean, you just come up out of the cattails a little bit, get out of that wet ground, and as you can see, I've got a lot of little trees here that are just primed for hinge cutting over. And just helping to thicken this area up. Some deer go through here. Not too long ago, when we pulled in, we kicked a few out. Those tracks are going towards us, going towards the truck, not away from it. So those are from earlier. A group of cottonwoods right here that we opened up. Got a little side cover down. Yeah, about some of the biggest trees out here. A couple of nice walnuts coming up here. There's a nice there's going to be a nice harvest of walnuts on this property in maybe like 25 years. For someone that's, you know, willing to wait 25 years. See, that's a real nice looking walnut. Give him Give him a little time. Got a couple buddies up here. Give them a little time. So now we're down here. You can see this is that open edge where we talked about the cedar and putting a barricade on both sides of the cedar. This is that open edge down there, or down here. You got a couple of elms down in here that I'd really like to hinge cut. But one thing I want to do before I do that is come in here, and I've got buck brush. I got this buck brush in here, and I really wouldn't mind coming in here with my excavator and plucking some of this stuff out. There's quite a bit of it right here. I really wouldn't mind grubbing quite a bit of that stuff right on out of here. I'm gonna have the machine down in here anyway, moving some tops around and placing some tops. It really, you know, this little area right here with, you know, 20 of them that are decent size, I could grub them out pretty quick. A couple minutes and they'd be gone. But more trees that we cut. No, we didn't cut that one. We cut the next one. Didn't cut this one. Cut that one. Couple of nice walnuts there. Nice walnut and a nice oak right there. You see the willows out there that I'm talking about. There's, you know, a little bedding out there on that little bit of high ground. But most of it's happening right up here on just on this edge of the first 15 yards onto this drier ground. Continue up here. Here's our spin around here. Now you can see. Now standing down in here, see if I'm a deer and I'm feeding down here, you can't see my neighbor's hunting blind that's sitting right there. And not only can you not see it, but they can't see the deer down here. Especially if I get some barricade, it's built up, some tops built up along this edge right here, and continue just letting these autumn olives on this edge grow up. And then same thing here, kind of barricade across, and then down here you kind of have right up under these. I'm going to leave them anyway because they're walnuts. Under these walnuts you're going to have scrape limbs cruising right here down here at this elevation that the deer want to cruise at anyway. And then my thought is maybe a little clover here on this hillside just to kind of give them a little something to feed on. And you know, another thought would be kind of create a little bit of maybe a clover trail down here, and then take this up to the cedar and maybe seed some switchgrass in that. You know, that might make a nice wall of cover here. The neighbors are definitely not seeing into this, and it's going to help to direct that deer travel traffic this way right here, going parallel with the property line. Same thing coming up under these scrapes, going parallel with the property line. So that's something I need to think about a little bit. Up through here a little bit. So now we're in going back into the thick stuff coming out of that opening, and gonna go back into the first opening. You see a lot of autumn olive out here, but it does create a lot of thick stuff. Autumn olive and rose bushes, and it sure is thick. Right here, this is that first opening. Well, actually this is the first opening up on the top where we talked about maybe having a spot to shoot. But maybe now that we've talked about the switchgrass, maybe switchgrass should go up on the flat top, and then maybe on this hillside we should do a little bit of, maybe like the clover plot or something should come in here. Maybe like right here, you can see the pickup truck up there. Maybe the plot should be right down here, maybe on the edge, and that way it's even more concealed from my neighbor's blind. Sitting right up in there. So a little bit of thinking to do here. I kind of like this a little more. Maybe put the food maybe down here, and then maybe get a little switch growing up here, and forget about the flat top up there. Maybe that exposes the deer a little too much. Keep them down here between a wall of switchgrass, the swamp, and a little bit of tree, a little bit of trees right here, a little bit of woods or strip of woods. So you can see down here, this is a good example. Between the swamp down here and the edge of this opening here is maybe 20 yards, maybe less than 20 yards. Right there, it might be less. From right there to here might be less than 20 yards. So yeah, it really narrows down in places. But a few things to think about here. You can really see the deer travel at the moment. Is right here. Squeezing along this down here just a little further down the hill from the open, just on the inside of the cover. Just on the inside of the cover. And then kind of heading right out into the swamp, but right on the edge of it too. Right on the edge. And then you can see also kind of traveling here, right on the edge. Right down the edge. And there's a lot of edge here. Got a couple 100 yards of swamp edge here. This is a big cottonwood we took down. Took a couple of them down up in here. Let's see if we can maybe work our way around this. Like I said, we got to come back in. A good example is right here. Come back in and maybe do a little detail work and just kind of cut that off, probably right here. Go ahead and leave the fork in it. Chop her off right there, chop it off right there, come over there, chop it off there, chop it off here, maybe even over here. Open that one up pretty good and open this one up here, maybe from here up into there, and get those deer going back through there a little easier. Even though they seem to be moving over that no problem, if we open it up, then we're going to definitely make sure they go through it, and it helps me go through it. It's like we got a groundhog out here having a good time. Come back down in here. This is where we took down several good-sized cottonwoods, and we did cut a hole in this one. Just need to finish it off. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, 8 good-sized cottonwoods down here. And we just need to come back in and do a little more detail work. Clean things up a little bit. A lot of autumn olive growing up in here. A lot of autumn olive growing all up in this stuff. But yeah, I think if we come back in, we got some cherries over there that we can hinge or that we can fell and steal the tops out of for barricades. We got more cherries right here that we can do the same thing to. Another one right here behind me. That one could even maybe be hinged over for a little cover down in here, for a little side or overhead cover. So now we're gonna come up out of here. We got a couple trails, one here, one here. come out of here and take a little look at the water hole that I put in. It seems to be doing okay. So I put this water hole, dug it in, and then I don't know how well you can see it, but there's a trench. Because we're on a side hill, I dug this trench out kind of up here. Take a look at it. I don't know if you guys can see out this trench or not. I just kind of trenched this thing out and trenched it over on the edge of the side hill here. Yeah, you can see it there. So we're kind of on the side hill and just trenched it out down to the tank. And so now I'm collecting all the rainwater that washes from up here. I'm getting it from not only from here, between everything from here, between here and down there is now, not everything, because there's a lot of water when it rains hard that hits my trench and washes over the top, but and I really should try to dig it out a little more. It was a little more pronounced last year, and if I worked at it and tried to dig it out a little more, I think it would help. But as you can see, also scrape broken off. I need to fix it, but you're definitely checking it out. It broke off a year ago, or this last year. But as you can see, my water hole is full of water. I have not put any water in this water hole, and now in the summertime, don't get me wrong, when we don't get rains, it's going to dry up. And no, I have not put water in this water hole since yes, at least 6 months. I mean, it was last summer when things started to go dry, and I wasn't getting the pictures anymore. I went ahead and filled it back up. I hang my trail camera right there on that tree right there, so the trail camera picks up the water hole and the scrape vine right there. So let's walk over here real quick. We're back here down on this edge. We are right, if you can see it, we are right directly in line with my neighbor's blind up towards the front of his property. Same neighbor that has the blind in the back. So my thought is, it's a little bit of a shot here, but this evergreen here, I think, is my setup. I can sneak in on the backside, my bow setup. Excuse me. I can sneak in on the backside in early season. I've got some more hinging to do. As you can see in here, I hinged out this cherry tree that was in there. This little sapling cherry tree is going to have to come down, and then we're going to have to work on that the tops of that bush there. But as I come over here, I should be able to sneak in right here on the back side of this. You can see, unfortunately, there's a scrape right there underneath it, but I should be able to sneak in on the back side of this, get some limbs cleaned up out of there, come up the back side and get in the stand here, and then I'm overlooking this taller evergreen there that you're seeing is where the scrape is hanging from, and then the water hole about maybe 10 yards in front of it. But as you can see, I got this little pocketed area right here that's kind of open, and then there's this mess here that ranges from here, and it's mostly rose bushes right here, and then once it hits right there and starts to curve around, that is just full of autumn olive. And the one issue that I have is I have some deer that bed in this from time to time. As you can see, this is kind of the corner that they like to kick out of. So I guess if I'm in this tree right here, and they're traveling on this path right here, scrape, water hole, coming up out of the thick stuff and moving out this way, my shot is to basically where we're standing now. So as I turn in through here, this is just an autumn olive thicket. I mean, it is just choked up with autumn olive, which is, I mean, you can kind of see up under there a little bit, but it's good and it's bad. It gives me a real nice screen to get down in here from up over the top of the hill for hunting and bow season, but I've also had deer bed right in this edge on this autumn olive thicket, so it goes both ways. So back to the here's the scrape and the water hole, and then we got a main travel trail that cuts across here. Unfortunately, it cuts my property right in half, but that's where the deer want to go, and I'm trying to slow them down everything I can with the water hole and the scrape, but they're wanting to cut the property in half and go from one neighbor to another. Let's check this out real quick and we'll wrap up here. So as we work our way back up here to the edge of the old gravel pit, I'll show you guys one last setup that I'm working on. So this mound right here, yeah, it's hard to see it, but the difference from down here to the top up here is easily, at the moment, it's 8 feet, but I'm going to cut the top of this off with my mini excavator and make a nice flat top with that. And the plan is to set a blind up right on top of this. So even if I cut about 2 feet off, I should be about 6 feet up in the air. We'll go stand up there. So I've got a lot of cover. I've got all this autumn olive right here, and the thought is this could be a gun blind. It could be a bow blind, but it could be a gun blind for sneaking in and getting down close, where you might have a different shot as opposed to sitting in a blind either up there on the highest point of the hill, somewhere up in there, or tucking one in maybe up in behind that tree up in there. There's also, not be able to see it, but over there I did hinge a couple of trees, and there is a cedar tree growing up over there. It would make a really nice spot to sit a blind in and look down this southern edge. But I think this spot right here is really going to work nice for a blind to sit right here. I can even cut the tops of these autumn olives out so I can shoot into that opening right there. That evergreen right there that you're seeing, that cedar, that is the potential tree stand tree right there that we were talking about. So just one more setup idea, and kind of sneak right in here. Had a food plot out here. This is super gravelly. Could put a lot of could probably spend a lot of money putting fertilizer and lime on this. I have since decided just to go with, and also because I don't live here at this property, I've decided to go with bedding over food, and try to create more woody browse. That doesn't mean that I might not get back over here and try to work on this and try to get maybe a clover plot in. We'll see how much ambition I have and how much time I have this year to hit this property, but at the moment we're just working on the bedding. I'll get back in here and do some detail work, and maybe after that we'll take you guys on another walk. So yeah, maybe until next time, guys. This is the Hillside Strip, little 10-acre micro property. So all right, guys, till next time.